This is Tao of Chow with MTG Forge, and today I want to talk to you about getting ready for pre-release and building a deck at pre-release. So I know Kaladesh is coming up soon, but it's not out yet, so obviously I don't have a pre-release pack for that. But I do have a leftover Shadows over Innistrad pre-release pack that's brand new, and I thought I might go through it with you and see what I would do with the cards and how I would go about building the deck with it, and that might help you to build to learn how to build a deck out of a pre-release pack as well. So let's open it up. So the first step is to open it up and see what you get. Okay, so let's open it up. Okay, so plastic's off. Okay, so we're gonna slide it open. Okay, so you don't need this piece here. Okay, it's actually kind of nice. It looks like Tamio's journal. Okay, we open it up. Here's our spin down counter. I'd actually recommend not using a spin down counter at pre-release, mainly because what you're going to get is it's often very crowded. At least at my LGS it was, and people might bump your table or something like that. It's just better to use a piece of paper, okay, like a little notepad, and that's fine. Okay, so inside you're going to get a promo. So I got an Inexorable Blob. That's a foil promo. We'll see how that goes. It looks alright, but not really the value card that I was looking for. And then you get a little spacer. Okay, that's not really going to help. A little, magic reference sheet. Okay, so if you really don't have time to read this, so don't read it at pre-release. Okay, and that's it for the box. Okay, so I'm just going to set those aside, and we'll go from there. Alright, so what we're going to do is just start cracking packs, basically. And what you should do is try and order them as you go by color. I'm going to do that off screen, mainly because you're going to be more concerned about what cards I get. And then as I get them, I'll be taking them out and putting them in order of color, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to just start cracking packs here, and we're going to see what we got. And like I said, I'm going to put the organized by color off screen. Alright, so we have, obviously, an Inexorable Blob, and I'll just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I have here. Okay, so Inexorable Blob. Okay, it's a 3 mana 3/3, so already that's actually pretty good just on its own. And whenever it attacks, if there are 4 more card types in the graveyard, put a 3/3 green ooze creature token onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So if you can get Delirium online, this might be a good card to have. So we'll put that off. So got Inquisitor's Ox. What I like to do is I usually actually just go straight to the tokens and the rares. So I got a land and a clue token. Okay, so Vessel of Volatility. Okay, so that's actually that's a foil common. Lambold Pacifist. Okay, that's a werewolf, so that's actually pretty good, and it's in green, so that might be good. Okay, my rare is Markov Dread Knight. Alright, so okay, take a look. Silver Strike, Ulrich's Kindred, Obsessive Skinner, Grotesque Mutation, Byway Courier, Uncaged Fury, Moldgraf Scavenger, Drownyard Explorers, Cathar's Companion, Just the Wind, and Inquisitor's Ox. Okay, so I got an emblem for looks like Ulrich's emblem. Okay, just a token there. Solitary Hunter is a werewolf card. Okay, Slayer's Plate. Now, I'm not usually a big fan of equipment, but
a lot of times in pre-release, depending on the set, equipment can really make a big difference. So that's actually a nice piece to get. Okay, so Humble the Brute, Lightning Axe, Haunted Cloak, Uncaged Fury, Crow of Dark Tidings, okay, Stoic Builder, Wicker Witch, Loam Dryad, Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, Militant Inquisitor, Stitched Mangler, and another Cathar Companion. Okay, so another clue token, another just another token or whatever counter. Okay, Pious Evangel. Okay, Corrupted Graphstone, Rise from the Tides, Spectral Shepherd, Compelling Deterrence, Stoic Builder, Sanguinary Mage, Throttle, okay, Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, Magmatic Chasm, Strength of Arms, Dauntless Cathar, okay, Press for Answers, and Stern Constable. Okay, just a creature token and another one of those things. Hermit of the Natternalls. That's actually a pretty decent werewolf card. Flameblade Angel. Okay. I should just leave that. Gibbering Fiend. Erdwall Illuminator. Hope Against Hope. Confront the Unknown. Reduce to Ashes. Alms of the Vein. Rabid Bite. Rush of Adrenaline. Drownyard Explorers. Stormrider Spirit. Militant Inquisitor. And Silberland Snapper. Alright, so another clue token. Land. Okay. Convicted Killer. Okay, Nephalia Moondrakes. Ghoulsteed. Foul Orchard. Moonlight Hunt. Hulking Devil. Merciless Resolve. Quilled Wolf. Rush of Adrenaline. Firebog Revenant. Ethereal Guide. Another Press for Answers. Angelic Purge. And Vessel of Paramnesia. Okay, my last pack. Okay, another clue token. Another one of these things. Kessig Forgemaster. Okay, so Sigarda. Alright, now Sigarda is awesome, and you might want to just build around Sigarda, but you have to see if you can, right? So, anyways. Biting Rain. Invasive Surgery. Briar Bridge Patrol. Thornhide Wolves. Hulking Devil. Merciless Resolve. Another Quilled Wolf, or a Quilled Wolf. Dual Shot. Drownyard Explorers. Jace's Scrutiny. Emissary of the Sleepless. And Just the Wind. Okay, so we've opened up all our cards here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go off screen and just organize by color. You should do this as you're doing it at the pre-release, because it'll save you time, and you're not going to have a lot of time. So what we're going to do is organize by color and see how much of each color we have. right? That's going to kind of determine which colors we can actually reasonably consider. In my last pre-release, I had a lot of cards, or some really, really good cards in red, but I think I only had like maybe 10 red cards total, right? And just wasn't nearly enough to actually construct a deck, even as a splash color. So I couldn't run red, unfortunately. But I'll come back in just a minute after I organize these, and we will see what we have and how many of each we have.
Okay, so here we can see the green cards that are available, and they all look pretty good, actually. I've gone through them all, and they're all at least somewhat playable in some form. Now, they're not all playable, depending on the type of deck that we want to do, and there's probably not enough of them to run just a mono green deck. So we're probably going to have to double up if we want to use green at all. Okay, so there's a couple of things to note. Thornhide Wolves, which is the card in the direct center, is a 4/5 for 5, which is just a vanilla common card. That's not a very good card, but it's still, I wouldn't say it's horrible. It might fill out a 5 slot, but for 5 mana, I'd rather be casting like Sigarda or something like that. So we'll have to see. That I would maybe take out. The rest are just okay depending on the strategies. Now, also the strategies here is generally that there's like either a werewolf strategy or there's one with clues. Alright, so, and we have a little bit of removal as well. So green looks like a fairly balanced color, and we'll see if there's something else we can do with this. Now, remember, we did pull a Sigarda, which really strongly wants to pull us into green and white, but we'll see where it goes. So, yeah, well, next we'll check out red and see what we can do with red. Okay, so these are the cards in red that I've looked over, and actually, besides the Sanguinary Mage, everything else looks okay, at least somewhat playable again. There's nothing that's just absolutely horrible. Flameblade Angel kind of stands out. It might be a good card, especially if I have Vessel Volatility with it at the same time. I noticed that there's not a ton of creatures with it, but there are some good sorceries and instants to go along with it. So like there's Dual Shot and Lightning Axe, Magmatic Chasm might be an interesting one to put out, especially if you have a Hulking Devil out or something like that. I'm not too sure about Hulking Devil. 4 mana for a 5/2 isn't really great, but it could be a good beater if I do decide to go with red. Ulrich's Kindred happens to synergize well with green because it has a green ability, but I'm not sure if that's enough to include this part here. Now, there are 2 werewolves here as well. There's the Keswick Forgemaster and the Convicted Killer, but again, I'm not sure if that would it'd be enough to justify going with a werewolf strategy, just in case, like just for that. I'll have to take a look at what white goes with, or what I have in white, and see what we have there. Yeah, we'll have to take a look, and there's nothing really here for anything with clues, so it doesn't really support a green clue strategy, which is what I had partially with green. So again, we'll see what happens. This might be a good support color, and we're not stuck to green or red, so we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so I'm looking at the white cards here, and they actually look fairly strong. We've got some good removal with Silver Strike, Humble the Brute, Angelic Purge. Even Stern Constable can control the opponent a little bit better. We have a little bit of stuff like Hope Against Hope, which looks fairly strong, and Militant Inquisitor, which actually looks pretty good as well. Strength of Arms will synergize well with the human theme, as long as we can get some equipment out, and we do have some decent equipment, so that might be good. Emissary of the Sleepless and Spectral Shepherd in the bottom left corner there don't really look that great, mainly because we don't have a ton of other spirits to run right now. But when I look through blue, maybe we will have other spirits and we can make the blue-white spirits type deck or something like that, but we'll see where it goes. Cathar's Companion doesn't really look that good either. It's 3 mana 3/1. You know, it's okay, I guess, that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, the companion gets indestructible. Well, alright. But I don't really have that many instants to cast, and most of the instants are removal anyways, so it's kind of, I don't know, that just looks like kind of meh. Militant Inquisitor looks very strong, especially in the 3 slot compared to Cathar's Companion, so that would be something I would certainly consider. Alright, remember, when you're building this, you want to put most of your stuff in the 3 and 4 slot. So, anyways, we'll keep an open mind, and we'll look at black next. Okay, so looking at black, the first thing I notice is that we don't have a lot of cards in black. Right, so we've got like 12 cards total, and creatures just don't seem that good. Like Ghoul Caller's Accomplice is okay, I guess. A 2/2 for 2 that can recur from the graveyard, so that's alright. Ghoul Steed, it doesn't look really that strong. 4/4 for 5. Yeah, you can discard 2 cards. If you're looking to get Delirium online, then maybe that would be okay. But I don't think that that's the strategy we're going to go at. Crow of Dark Tiding. Okay, again, if you're looking for Delirium, then it's okay. But I mean, overall, black cards just don't really look that strong for what we're like what our other cards are trying to do. I can't see it going really well with red or white or green. So far, and we haven't looked at blue yet, but maybe. I don't know. This just doesn't look that strong to me. Markov Dread Knight looks very strong. A 5/5 for 3 flyer, and discard a card, put 2/1/1 counters on him. But the only good thing of that is that by discarding a card, you can enable Delirium again. But it doesn't look like we have a lot of Delirium cards, so that doesn't look like something I would necessarily try. So. Anyways, I don't think black's going to be something we'll go for, but let's check out blue and see where it takes us. Alright, now checking over blue, we got quite a few blue cards, and having 3 of a Drownyard Explorers is nice for consistency, I suppose, but Drownyard Explorers doesn't really help us in any real game strategy. Like, yeah, it gets us a clue, which is great for card draw, but it's a 4-mana 2/4. I don't know. It's just okay. Again, it's not really something that it's like a really wow card. Rise from the Tide, Silberlin Snapper, and Nephalia Moondrakes all cost too much, like 6 and 7 mana cost to get out. Yeah, they're huge, but I don't think that you're gonna ever get a chance to really get them out. Like, this means like you're probably gonna at the latest or at the earliest you'll ever get them out is on turn 6 or 7, and I don't know, I just can't see that really being huge. Stitched Mangler is actually very strong. Compelling Deterrence is actually okay if you control a zombie, but the problem is that we don't really have any zombies in the deck besides Stitched Mangler or in the set, so I can't really see us going with those. Stormrider Spirit is a 5-mana 3/3, again, not really great. I'd say that blue is probably not our color either. Now, what I've done is I'm figuring I'm probably either going to go green-white or green-red. I'm probably not going to go white-red. So what I've done is I've laid out all of my green cards that I feel like I could play in the order of their converted mana cost to see what my curve looks like. I also need to know which ones are creatures and which ones are spells. And I only kept 2 spells. Rabid Bite, which is a sorcery, and Moonlight Hunt, which is an instant. Those are both kind of forms of removal where one of my creatures basically deals damage to an opponent's creatures. I didn't keep 2 of the cards that I thought might not be that playable. I just put them off to the side. You can actually see them in the bottom corner there, that they're just I maybe could fit them in if I had room, but they're not really fitting in with the deck the way with the concept that I'm going to go with. I think that I'm going to try and go just like almost like a straight up aggro type attack. Maybe if I can get something with counters going, or something where I can flip my werewolves or something like that, then I'll go with that and just see if I can aggro my opponent. Alright, so let's take a look now. I'm going to add white to it, and then I'm going to add red to it and see how it looks. So here I have laid out basically using the same strategy of setting things up in the converted mana cost, both green and red. So if I play green-red, I need, basically this is going to be a really aggressive aggro deck, and so I'm going to need, I figure about 18 creatures. So it's going to have to come out really hard and fast with just a ton of creatures. Now, one of my concerns is I've got a lot of 3-drops, so not that many 4-drops. It's still okay. You mainly want to have most of your stuff in the 3 and 4-drop spot. I've got a little bit of removal and a little bit of combat tricks that I can use, like so giving my creatures +2/+1 and trample is pretty good. Double striking with werewolf is pretty awesome. The hulking devils are not really that great, but Flameblade Angel is actually pretty nice. So this is okay, but this is what I would run if I was running green and red. Okay, finally I've set up green and white in the same format as I did with green and red. Now, from what I see here, I have a lot of cards that are in the 3 mana slot, not a lot in 4 and not a lot in 5, which is actually kind of characteristic of an aggro deck, but I wish I had more in the 4 and 5 slot, which I just don't really. I had like some things like Inquisitor's Ox or something like that, but it just didn't seem like it was a great fit. So this is what I would end up with. Now, I do have 16 creatures, and I'm running 3 equipment and another 6 other spells like instants and sorceries and stuff like that. So that's total for 25 cards, which means I'll go with 15 lands. So overall it's okay. 15 lands is kind of short on land, but I'm hoping with Loam Dryad and also Corrupted Graftstone that I'll be able to pick that up. So it's a little bit of a risk, but I think, especially with Cigar to Heron's Grace out there, if you can drop that down, like, it's just such a value card that it really pushes you into getting into building this sort of deck. Nonetheless, let's take a look at our mana, and we'll see how far we can, or what our land layout should be. So a simple way of calculating the mana ratio that you need, assuming you don't have any dual lands, is basically just counting the mana costs of each color in the deck, and then setting up your mana proportional to that. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 green symbols, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 white symbols. So just doing a little bit of math, I have basically I have 9 out of 23 symbols that are white. So that means it's about 40-something%. And so that gives me, when I check about 40% of the 15 land cards that I'm going to have, that gives me 5.8. Now, typically you want to favor that lesser color a little bit more, so I would just round that up to 6. And so of those 15 cards, I'll probably need 6 white and 9 greens. I'd like to leave you with some piece of advice that I think have been really helpful for me in pre-release. The first one is to look at the spoilers online. Now, you don't have to know them inside and out, so you don't have to go hours and hours and just memorize them, but you should get an idea of the mechanics that are being played and some of the cards that are really good, especially the bombs, like the really, really good cards. So those are the ones that you should be aware of, and some things that are really bad cards as well. So, like, if you can, know it as much as possible, because it'll save time, because otherwise you'll be just reading cards the whole time when you could be building. Secondly is be mindful of the time. It's very easy to run out of time, so what I'd recommend is getting like a countdown timer on your phone or something like that, and just having that run and let you know how much time you have remaining. Third piece of advice is don't get stuck on one idea. So sometimes, like you saw in this one, I got Sigarda, and I really wanted to go blue or green-white, but you don't have to go green-white. In this case, it was just worked out that that's what seemed like what was the best one. But don't get stuck on one idea, because otherwise you could pass up something that's really good in favor of an inferior idea. Number 4, try to build an alternate deck. So you saw what I did is I tried to build a red-green deck, and it seemed okay. It looked like the white-green deck was actually better, but if I played an opponent and the green-white deck wasn't really working, then I could also just, during sideboarding, sideboard all the white cards and put in all the red cards. And then I'd have a working red-green deck. So I've actually built 2 decks, and it might take your opponent by surprise. Number 5 is come with pre-sleeved land cards. Okay, because sleeving your lands might take, let's say, only 3 to 5 minutes, but that's still 3 to 5 minutes that you could be deck building instead of sleeving. So if you come with a set of, say, 15 to 16 pre-sleeved lands cards, it's really going to help. The last, most important piece of advice I can give you is to follow the bread method. Now, the bread method is a method of determining which are the most important cards to have in your deck. So remember, you're also making a 40-card deck, not a 60-card deck. You're going to need 24 of those cards, and about 16 to 18 of those should be creatures. Okay, that leaves you with 6 to 8 sorceries, instants, and enchantments, or equipment, or whatever else. Alright, so the bread method stands for bombs. Now, bombs are the things that are going to win you the game, like just super good cards that you just can't have without. So with my green-white, the bomb would have been Sigarda. All right, removal is R. Okay, so removal is ways of getting rid of your opponent's bombs. So your opponent's going to have bombs. What are you going to do against those? Okay, so removal is, besides bombs, removal is the most important thing. Okay, next is evasion. So creatures with evasion, so things like flying, unblockable, death touch, things like that. The A stands for aggro. So aggro is just like fast creatures or efficient creatures that can be really useful. And D stands for dirt. So just cards that are just unplayable. Anything more than 6 or 7 mana is essentially unplayable. So just don't consider that. Or things that are just really inefficient or just awful cards. There's always awful cards. So you got to get rid of those cards so you can consider which ones are the better ones. Anyways, I hope you have found this to be useful. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any other advice, then please leave a comment in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.